This condition really does make you feel invisible.
Nobody believes you.
Could your pain, brain fog, or exhaustion be fibromyalgia?
I went for test after test and still no answers.
My new quiz may be the answer to all your symptoms. Then, no pill secrets to solving your back, neck, and hand pain.
Oh, this feels amazing.
And healthy and affordable meals for a crowd from my favorite cook of all time, my wife Lisa. Coming up next.
We'll save lives today.
You guys ready to get healthy?
I am super excited about today's show because I have gathered a group of experts who are giving us the secrets to living healthy and happy lives. We're going to start with pain. Could your pain, exhaustion, or brain fog be fibromyalgia? I've got a new quiz to find out if this is the answer to all your questions. Then, the secrets to solving your back, neck, and hand pain straight from the chiropractor. You can do it yourself. And finally, our week-long series of healthy and affordable cooking for a crowd starts off with my favorite cook. Think about this. My favorite cook in the whole world. Who could it be? She's joining us today with her easy and inexpensive recipes. So sometimes pain can be visible and obvious. Let's start on that. It's like a broken arm or a sore back. Everyone sees it. But the most frustrating kind of pain is when it's hidden from the outside, dismissed by doctors or people in your life. It can make you feel like this, invisible, like you don't exist, don't matter. No one, I mean no one, should feel this way. So today, a more comprehensive and updated at-home questionnaire to find out if your hidden pain is fibromyalgia.
It started with a lot of unexplained pain.
Headaches, aching, burning, muscle spasms,
pain everywhere.
In my arms.
It felt like a severe flu.
I had friends that didn't understand.
Can't you run, mommy?
Nobody believes you.
Because people didn't understand what I was going through.
When people can't see your pain, they write it off.
I went for test after test after test and still no answers.
I thought it was in my head at first.
I saw 3 different doctors and none of them could figure out what it was.
Doctors wouldn't believe me. Some would think that I was only in it for the pain medication.
I felt invisible because nobody believed what was going on with me.
This condition really does make you feel invisible.
When they finally diagnosed it as fibromyalgia, it was a huge relief.
I felt like, wow, it's not all in my head.
Finally, one day, the doctor put the pieces together. And the first thing he said after looking at tests and coming back in the room said, "This is not in your head. This is a very real thing. And I'm sorry it took this long."
I want to thank all the wonderful women in our audience for sharing your stories. I know that's difficult. I can see how emotion has touched you already. You guys okay? It's tough to watch, isn't it, sometimes? Well, you're honored today. I'm honored to have you here, and we're going to pay tribute to you all by giving you some answers. So Jennifer Caudle is here. She's a physician who's been treating fibromyalgia patients for nearly 10 years. When she first started seeing patients with this condition, a lot of doctors, a lot of people like me, thought it was made up. But you see there's been big developments in pain management for these folks.
A lot of things have changed. We have a lot more information than we used to have. You know, we used to diagnose fibromyalgia by looking specifically at tender points, the areas of the body that are specifically tender. But now we know that fibromyalgia is more than just tender points. And it's really almost like a constellation of symptoms. And that's one of the biggest changes in the last so many years, is that we look at this whole constellation of symptoms to really come up with that diagnosis.
So I heard words exhaustion, pain.
Right.
These are things that exist in everyday life. How does that differ from fibromyalgia?
I'm glad that you asked that, because I think that's the question that a lot of people have, is they say, well, what makes someone have fibromyalgia versus not? So the criteria is very specific. And let me tell you, when I think about fibromyalgia as a condition, 2 things really come to mind. I think of pain, I think of exhaustion. So the diagnostic criteria really requires that a patient have chronic, widespread pain, kind of all over their body. They also have symptoms such as fatigue, waking up feeling unrefreshed. That means like you get 8 hours of sleep, but you wake up in the morning, you feel like you haven't slept a wink.
No better off, right?
Right, right. And also cognitive issues, feeling fuzzy or foggy in the brain and things like that. The symptoms must be there for at least 3 months and not be attributable to another condition. And that's what makes it different.
So the big question then is, how do I know I really have it? Can I get a blood test to tell me that? And unfortunately, there is no blood test.
No, there's not a blood test. And in fact, one of the things we think is underlying fibromyalgia is sort of abnormal pain processing. We think it's an issue of the brain and spinal cord. People with fibromyalgia almost have this heightened sense of pain that they experience because of the way their brain and spinal cord sort of processes pain. And that's one of the most sort of important points in terms of why it happens and sort of what we think the mechanics are.
So the pain might be the same as somebody else might have, but they sense it differently. Yeah, a little more loudly.
I think of it like this. So if you don't mind me pinching you, so if I pinch you, okay, you might say, oh, well, that's annoying, Dr. Cottle.
That wasn't much of a pinch.
Okay, I'll pinch you hard.
Ow!
Okay, there. Want me to do it again? No, okay. Okay, you're saying like, okay, that was uncomfortable, but perhaps a patient with fibromyalgia, if I did that same pinch, they might perceive that pain as being that much bigger, that much worse than someone like you or me who doesn't have fibromyalgia. And it's because of that abnormal pain processing. They perceive pain differently at a higher level.
Is that all resonating with you all? It's sort of what you're feeling? So here's the thing, because there's no blood test, no simple way of diagnosing the problem, what we're going to do is walk everyone through a way of diagnosing themselves. So Dr. Cottle, come join me if you don't mind. Okay. I'm going to grab Morgan. Morgan, you're going to join us if you don't mind. You'll speak for the group, all right?
All right.
So there's a new at-home fibromyalgia questionnaire. Everyone in the audience has one. It's also available on our website. It's easy to do. It's 2 questions. Only 2 questions you got to answer. The first is to calculate how widespread your pain is. So Dr. Cottle, please explain how you use this mannequin to teach us that.
Sure. Well, this is sort of our model. We think of fibromyalgia as having chronic widespread pain. Widespread really means what it sounds like. Pain can happen anywhere in the body. We have both the front as well as the back. So you can see here pain can be on the neck. It can be sort of in the back of the shoulders. It can be in the lower back here, the buttocks, etc. And again, even down to the legs. And what's really important to note here is really all of the areas that you've had pain in these regions for the last 3 months or so. Where have you had pain?
Right. So everyone in the audience and at home, if you can get this off the website, just quickly check the boxes that apply to your pain. You're going to need that later on. So Morgan, come on back here. Let's talk about your case. So we actually looked at your model here, and this is this is what the illustration looks like on the page. So if I look at this right now and I add up all the red boxes that you checked off, it's 14 pain boxes. Dr. Cottle, do I do that right?
You did. You absolutely. You just want to count up the areas that you've checked off on your boxes, add them up, and see what you come up with. And it can be both the front and the back of the body as well.
So remember that number 14. Everyone check off the boxes that apply to you and keep track of that number. The next thing, the second question, only 2 again, is to tally your overlapping symptoms. If you don't mind, walk us through these.
Sure. So we talked about fibro being not just pain, but also other symptoms that you may have as well. And I think you probably experienced these, right? But remember, fibro patients can often have other symptoms. Bladder issues, headache, depression, anxiety, heartburn. There's many others. This is just a few.
So you checked off all these boxes. There were 6 total. So we got everyone's okay with here. So you can add up the number of pain points you have from the prior question and the number of these overlapping symptoms, and you're going to put them together, right? Yes. And when you have that number, what does that mean?
So what I would say is, well, actually, we've got your number, right? So we've got 14 plus 6. Do we have? So we have a total of 20. Yeah. What I would say for people who are watching at home, you're doing this questionnaire. If you have at least 7 or more symptoms, and at least 3 of those are in the pain category, you need to see your doctor. Now, let me be very clear. This is not the specific diagnosis for fibromyalgia. This will not diagnose your fibromyalgia. But what this is a great tool to track your symptoms. Get an idea of what's going on with your body to be able to literally take this, bring it into your doctor, and talk more about it.
So once you figured out that you may have fibromyalgia and you're no longer invisible, which is a big part of what we're talking about today, what do you do with that? What are the current treatments that might be helpful? Give some hope to patients suffering from fibromyalgia.
Sure. Well, there's a lot of great treatments. And that's the thing. When you go to your doctor, they're going to want to rule out other conditions, want to probably do some tests and things like that. But there are great treatments. There's a number of FDA-approved medications that are on the market that treat fibromyalgia well. But we think one of the best things is sort of lifestyle changes. I always tell my patients, let's, number 1, get rid of the stress. Number 2, let's get you moving. We want to manage the anxiety, depression, and stress that comes with it, but we also want to do sort of gentle exercises. And I don't know how you felt about it, but a lot of my fibro patients, they say, well, I'm already in pain, Dr. Cottle. Why do I want to move anymore? But the truth of the matter is we know graded exercises, yoga, tai chi, kind of pool exercises, physical therapy can actually be very helpful. So using that big pot of stuff, we want to pull our therapies out.
Is this helpful for you?
Yes, a lot of that.
All right, God bless you. Thanks for being here.
Thanks for coming.
You can go to droz.com for the questionnaire. Next, we zero in on the nagging aches and pains you deal with every day, how to be your own chiropractor and solve your own back and neck pain at home. Stay with us. Next, those constant aches you've been feeling may actually originate from another part of your body. Learn how to find where the pain starts so you can reset it.
That's amazing.
The chiropractor's no-pill secrets to solve your neck, back, and wrist pain. Coming up next. Beat the holiday blues. The one thing you need more of so you can enjoy the holiday season. Plus, Jeff Roble shares his secret for easy holiday entertaining. I gotta eat this all week long. All new Oz. That's coming up tomorrow. This meme the other day says, ain't nobody got time for pain. I love that. So today we're sharing the chiropractor's no-pill secrets to solve your back, neck, and wrist pain. These are things you can do at home. Chiropractor Steve Shoshani is here. He says that the secret to solving pain is to hit the reset button. Why is that?
Well, a lot of people think that they have pain and it's sore. So basically, if you pull a dog's tail, sometimes it barks at the mouth. The pain is not, it's where you're pulling the tail, not the barking. So we want to understand where it's coming from.
The root cause.
The root cause of the problem.
So we're going to start with the back, if that's okay. Most common problem we all have. I have this problem. So teach people about my back. Here I am. So you can see how magnificently large my muscles are, everybody. Let's rotate me around. You can sort of see inside there. There's a spine, obviously, but it's supported by all those muscles. And I get pain right here. So Steve, what happens? What's that caused by?
Well, I find with a lot of my patients that this yellow structure here, the butt, is really weak or offline. People sit all day, and these muscles get no exercise. Super weak and just basically tight.
Say I'm weak?
Not you, but most people, most of my patients.
I like that gluteus muscle I had. All right, so we got Desiree here. Come on in, Desiree. Let him accuse you of having weak gluteus muscles. How much time do you spend sitting down when you're at work during the day?
I sit at least 12 hours a day. So between driving to work, sitting at my desk all day, I'm so glued to my desk that I eat lunch at my desk. I mean, if I could have a porta potty next to me, I would, but I don't think our coworkers would go for that. So, but yes, I'm in so much pain throughout the...
So sitting could weaken the gluteus muscle, right?
Absolutely.
Or you might just be imbalanced anyway. Mm-hmm. So show folks what they can do at home to deal with this.
Okay, great. Come with me, Desiree. Okay, so this is a foam roller. This is something I love to do. So I'm going to demonstrate first, and I'll have you do it. So what you want to do is you want to kind of sit on the foam roller here. And you want to lean into it and roll. And what you're trying to do is...
You have to get your right leg up in the air to do that?
Yeah, right leg up. And you want to kind of lean onto it and put your body weight into it and roll and try to break up those tight glute muscles. You want to give that a try?
Sure.
And then you do the other side. You have to balance out?
Yeah, you got to do both sides.
Okay.
No, I'm going to hold you here because you're going to fall back and then we'll be...
And then lean your body weight that way so you're right on that glute and just kind of roll that out.
This feels amazing.
It doesn't hurt? How easy you are to please.
It does. Can I take this home?
Not only you can take that home, but if you don't have one, to keep going, by the way, if you don't have one of those rollers, you can use...
You can also use a softball or a lacrosse ball if you have one. Not many people play lacrosse.
How about a tennis ball? Something
tennis ball will give, so I like to use something that has a little, harder.
It's a little more uncomfortable. Now you're cheating now. You're going on the... Oh, you guess you go both sides.
Well, I can do both sides.
Yeah, you can do both sides.
My entire bike.
She's modifying it already.
Yeah. Well, this is great. This is awesome.
Thanks, Desiree.
You're
Don't
welcome.
fall. Take it home with you. It's yours. It's a gift from the show.
Great.
All right. Now, I did a little experiment before the show. I asked the audience while you were coming in just to stand still while you're doing your normal daily functions. And look at the pictures that I got. These are pictures of my audience developing text neck. See that? Text neck. Look at that. Another guilty party. You know who you are out there. So show us all the text nectars out there who are like this, their heads for why it's such a danger and what they can do about it.
Well, when your head goes forward, you could be looking down. I have patients looking down all day, laptops. If you go forward, your head could be 60 pounds, and these muscles get super, super tired.
See that illustration, by the way? The more your head's forward, the more that bowling ball is about to fall, the more your spine's got to compensate for it. 60 pounds, huh?
60 pounds, yeah.
So that's 4 bowling balls of weight.
And these muscles get really, really, really tired.
So how do you push the reset for that?
Well, basically what I like to do is put your 2 fingers on your chin, and what you're going to do is you're going to push your head back. And what you want to do is create a double chin. It's the only time...
Create a double chin?
It's the only time you want a double chin. So
no women are going to do this, the Shoshani.
So imagine there's a pole going through your head, and your head is sliding back on the pole. What you do is you're activating these deep muscles in your neck that are designed to hold your spine up all day. You're going to give some of these muscles a break. This will strengthen these deep neck muscles and take a
Notice none of the guys are all doing it, the women aren't. Just try it once, It's sort of cool, actually. It does. I wouldn't have thought that little bit of pressure makes a difference. All right, come on, last thing we talk about is wrist and arm pain. Very common because people aren't using their wrists and their arms correctly, but you've got to stretch. I've never heard of this before, but it makes a lot of sense to me.
Well, people sit all day, and what happens is the shoulders are going to round forward, and women with large breasts that'll do the same thing, they'll round forward. So the pec major, pec minor, really easy stretch, find a wall, any wall, and what you're going to do is you're going to lean forward into it. Hold it for 30 seconds to a minute. You want to feel a release. You want to try
it feels good.
And then what you want to do is raise your hand up a little higher and lean forward. You're going to be getting a different portion of the pec.
Yep.
And then bring your elbow down and a different stretch, get a different portion of the pec.
I love the simple, easy things we can do at home. It saves us a trip to visit you, although it's worthwhile once in a while.
Yep.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Be right back. By the way, the ultimate guide to relieve back pain at DrOz.com. Next, the holidays are all about celebration. But if you're recovering from addiction, this time of year can be difficult. Temptation means relapse. So what do you do when you have the urge? The tips to prepare you for this high-risk season. Next. The holidays are a magical time of year. Friends and families coming together, lots of good food, plenty of celebration. But if you're in recovery from addiction, this season can be especially difficult. Here's Pamela's story.
My life has been a roller coaster ride of addiction and recovery. I picked up my first drink when I was 13. I had my first blackout when I was 13. I drank because I liked the way it felt. I hit my first rehab when I was 20, the second one at 27. And I took some serious bottoms. The first bottom was a physical bottom. I was going to be homeless. The second bottom was a spiritual and emotional bottom. I was pregnant, and I had a chance to live or to die. And with life in me, I wanted to live. I've been sober now a little more than 5 years. Recovery takes a tremendous amount of work. It's especially around the holiday time, because you are exposed to a lot more alcohol, a lot more substances. The pressures make it difficult for us to stay sober.
Pamela's here. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you.
Along with Mike Dow, psychotherapist and best-selling author. He's also a member of my core team. So the holidays are an interesting time because it's the best of times for folks who have everything worked out, and for folks who are struggling, especially with addiction, it can be the worst of times. But it's still, around the holidays, a time when triggers will continue to tug at you. What do you do to make sure you don't fall prey to things that happened in the past?
I learned not to become complacent. So some of the things that I do to maintain my recovery is double up on meetings, lots of prayer and meditation, spiritual literature, positive affirmations, staying around people that are positive and that are sober.
So Dr. Mike has some tips that he's prepared for this high-risk season in order to preserve all of our sobriety and all the other problems you might have. This is not just about alcohol, by the way. It applies to a lot of other addictive behaviors. And Mike, if you could walk us through these. The first step, you say, has to do with planning ahead, which I heard a little bit from you as well.
Yes, I do.
Yeah, so there's that mantra, failing to plan is planning to fail. So if you're in recovery this holiday season, it is time to, before you go to that next city, make sure you know where those meetings are. Make an appointment with your sponsor. If you're a food addict, eat a healthy meal before you go to that holiday party, because you can really set yourself up for success if you just plan a little bit ahead.
Shopping addiction is even more of a problem.
That too.
Second, you have to actually add to your life. It's not taking away all the time because it's the holidays, right? You have to add to it.
Yeah, so this is called behavioral replacement therapy. One of the things that I do, I travel a lot, is I have one of my favorite yoga classes on my iPhone, so I can actually listen to it and just do yoga in my hotel room. So it's about adding to your life. What are the healthy activities, the behaviors, the foods that you can add to your life so that when you have those holiday stresses, hungry, angry, lonely, tired, which a lot of addicts feel around the holidays, you have those healthy go-to behaviors. And I would suggest that every person in recovery have a list of 5 or 6 things you are going to do when you're at home with your family or you're stressed out and lonely, you can go to make you feel a little bit better.
So what did you add to your life?
I added good friends, lots of meetings. I do a lot of service work as well with families who are in recovery, whether it's their family member or themselves in recovery.
Thank you for doing that. You know, it's interesting, when you give, you get, which I know we all say, but it's the only time, paradoxically, you think you'd be less when you give away. It does the opposite, especially this time of year. And the final tip, I think it's a really important one, is practice loving kindness meditation. That seems really woo-woo, but I want you to break it down so folks know what you mean.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'm going to give you a little express one, Pamela.
Thank you.
Will you do it for me,
I will
Pamela?
do it for you.
Okay, I want you to close your eyes, and I want you to picture somebody who's in your support system, who you love, who you find it really easy to love. Do you see that person?
I do.
Okay, now I want you to feel loving kindness from your heart. Do you feel that?
I do.
Okay, now I want you to picture somebody in your family or somebody who is sort of difficult to love at times. And maybe this is a person you're going to see around the holidays. Do you see that person?
I do.
Okay, now I want you, with the same intensity, to send them that loving kindness. Do you feel that?
Yes.
And then finally, that third step, now I want you to picture yourself. And all that loving kindness you sent that person who's easy to love or difficult to love, I want you to send that to yourself. Do you feel that?
I do.
Now open your eyes. What did that do for you?
It gave me a pause to breathe, to hear the kind words and the loving and gentleness of what you were expressing, so that I didn't feel overwhelmed. And it calms my mind, it calms my heart.
And if you did that, do you think it'd be a little bit easier when you walked into that holiday party and maybe there's a family member who's difficult to deal with?
Absolutely.
Great.
Absolutely.
Glad
Thank
to
you.
hear that.
Thanks for sharing your story. Dr. Dow, is always fantastic being here. His new book, The Brain Fog Fix, is available in stores now. When we come back, the National Night of Conversation. It's about addiction and where we go from here. Stay with us. Next, from prescription pain pills to the surging heroin epidemic, addiction has become a national crisis. We're having an open and honest dialogue about how to reverse the trend. The conversation you need to have about drugs and addiction with your kids. Next.
Beat the holiday blues. The one thing you need more of so you can enjoy the holiday season. Plus, Jeff Roble shares his secret for easy holiday entertaining. I gotta eat this all week long. All New Oz.
That's coming up tomorrow. Last month, in partnership with Facing Addiction and Drugs Over Dinner, this show organized the first National Night of Conversation to encourage every family in this country to start talking to their children about drugs and addiction. This conversation is critical because research shows that kids who learn about the risks of drugs at home are 50% less likely to use drugs and drink alcohol. November 19th, a very special night of conversation. I asked families all around the country to sit down together for a heart-to-heart talk about drugs. The response was tremendous and inspiring.
What it did for our family is open the lines of communication. I learned a lot of great things about them.
We discovered that they are still being exposed to this type of drug activity in schools.
It was a huge success.
Listening, learning, a wonderful night of connecting.
9 times out of 10, addiction starts in the teen years. So that's when prevention can have the biggest impact. And that's why I spent the night of November 19th talking to New Jersey high school students about addiction. At one point, giving them the opportunity to find out where addiction begins, in the human brain.
So how would you describe this?
Weird.
Weird, all right.
All joking aside, I wanted these kids to understand that addiction is a chronic disease of the brain, not a moral failing.
You know, people often judge others who are addicted because they see them at their worst. But the fact of the matter is, it's like seeing someone who's got a broken leg not run fast. All it means is their leg was broken, they couldn't run fast.
Conversations about addiction were also had in houses of worship.
Your stories are important, and I want to thank you for sharing.
Including the new church in Bernathen, Pennsylvania. Thousands of you participated in the National Night of Conversation, ultimately helping to spread this extremely important message to more than 20 million people. To celebrate the conversations families had, I asked them to post pictures of their empty plates on social media. The National Night of Conversation had the backing and the support of the Surgeon General, members of the Senate, the White House Office of Drug Policy, and the press, including the Houston Chronicle, the New Jersey Star-Ledger, and the Huffington Post, as well as health organizations all across the nation. Now we're poised to make these conversations an ongoing event, with my home state of New Jersey leading the way, introducing a bill to make November 19th an annual night of conversation. Dr. David Satcher served as a U.S. Surgeon General from 1998 to 2002. Today, he's the director of the Satcher Health Leadership Institute at the Morehouse School of Medicine. It is a great honor of my life to have you on the show. And I just want to brag 1 second about Dr. Satcher. You wrote me this letter in April 10th. You may recognize it.
Yes, you do.
The reason we did that National Night of Conversation, everybody, was because of this brilliant man who has done so much for our nation. But when you wrote me this letter saying, wake up to the reality of mental health in America and the challenges we face in addiction, it opened my eyes. So your foresight made all this possible. So what do you think about the results of your national night, our national night of conversation?
Well, first, congratulations to you. I wrote you the letter, but you did it. And I'm very encouraged. I think at the Satcher Health Leadership Institute, we like to say that ultimately, parents are the most important leaders. They're the most important teachers. So starting a conversation between parents and their children about something as important, something as serious as addiction, is a major step forward.
So there's a battle that's raging in America now about what addiction really is. Is it a chronic brain condition that is a medical issue, or is it a criminal pathology that requires law enforcement? Where do you land on that?
Well, in our report on mental health, we pointed out that just as things go wrong with the heart, the lungs, the kidneys, and the liver, things go wrong with the brain. So it is definitely a disease, and it deserves the same kind of attention.
So I'm going to quote you. I've got two important quotes from you. The first one is a quote from 16 years ago. And this is, by the way, when Dr. Satcher was Surgeon General, he made a big move in this area. You said stigma is the most formidable obstacle to progress in the arena of mental health. This is still a debate. That many years later, even though you broke the ice on it, why is a stigma still such an issue?
Because we haven't had the kind of conversation that you are encouraging. That conversation needs to continue, needs to take place in the home, ultimately in the schools. The only way we're going to eliminate stigma is to continue that conversation. We need to open the eyes of people to the reality of addiction, but also the nature of addiction. You know, my grandfather was an alcoholic, and if it had not been for my father's religion, we probably would have grown up in a home with drug addiction. So I was blessed in that sense. But there are many children who suffer because we as a society are looking at this as a crime and not an illness.
Let me quote you again. I'm going to quote you quoting Martin Luther King, who, when Dr. Satcher was in medical school at the Morehouse School of Medicine.
In college, really.
In college.
In undergraduate college.
Go ahead and tell the story. Why am I telling your story?
Well, I was in college at Morehouse from 1959 to 1963. It was the time of civil rights movement, the student movement. Dr. King was co-pastor with his father of Ebenezer Baptist Church. And a group of friends and I, we didn't have cars. We would walk to Ebenezer when we knew that Dr. King was going to preach. 5 miles there and 5 miles back. And I can tell you, I don't regret 1 mile of it.
Yeah, and just to be clear, Dr. King was preaching a couple times a month.
That's right. Yeah, he was so busy until it was unusual for him to be there more than once or twice a month.
So here's the quote. This is, again, Dr. King, but you re-quoted him at an event that we did at the Abyssinian Church years ago. You wouldn't remember this, but it's the first time.
I remember your being there.
Yes. So of all the forms of inequality, injustice in healthcare is the most shocking and inhumane. Why that quote? And how is the Leadership Institute that's named after you, appropriately, that you created and founded at the Morehouse School of Medicine, how is that addressing this?
Well, number one, I feel very strongly that that's a fact, and that's what's driven me throughout my career, that if we can't provide equity in health care, it is inhumane, it's shocking, and that's where we've been to a great extent in this country. I think our institute is helping that by developing leaders. We're trying to develop leaders who will lead us out of this inequity so that everyone has access to quality health care in this country.
Well, I came down, if I can brag on you a little bit, I came down to visit you, and we actually took a tour of Emory. Actually, it was Grady Memorial Hospital, which is where my father trained. There we are.
That's right.
So I grew up my first years of life were at that hospital. And the things you were doing to create roles, models, examples of how we do this right, that we can spread across the country, is a testimony to your vision and to your leadership. And I thank you for being here, sir. Thank you. National Night of Conversation is only the beginning. Dr. Thatcher woke me up to this, and I'm going to keep pushing on this topic because it matters to all of us. We'll be right back. Coming up next, want to spend more time with family and friends this holiday and less time feeding the crowd? My wife Lisa shares her best cooking tips and delicious recipes. Secrets to healthy and affordable dishes your guests will love. Next. All week long, we are showing you the secret to delicious, healthy, and affordable dishes you can make for a crowd. And there's no one better at making great food for holiday company than my beautiful and talented wife, Lisa, who I love having here. So share the secret. How do you make food that's healthy for a large number of people?
Well, my key is to keep it simple, keep it quick. You could help even.
I don't usually, but today I will. Now, you also, one thing Lisa always does, she starts the party before the party starts with music.
I do. Yeah, I do.
So I bought something with her. A little.
You did.
But it's always going. And it takes, the few times I help, it actually supports my efforts, so I don't criticize me so hard.
The music is good because, again, oh, look at you. This is so nice. Okay.
All right, show them the family favorites.
No. If we're going to start the party, I need some alcohol here. Come on.
Alcohol.
Can we get a bottle of wine out here with our music? No?
We've gone dry.
Darn. Okay.
All right, so this is a favorite. Oliver loves this, so do I. This is Lisa's roasted chicken drumsticks with an herb garlic rub.
Okay, so we start with this. Oliver actually just had a bunch of friends over, 6 friends over the other night. And instead of ordering pizza, we just made a big tray of this chicken. They loved it. And the next morning, they had it with eggs for breakfast. So just you pour a little olive oil over it. Now, I actually like to make this in a bag and shake it so it's much easier, or use my hands, but we don't have a sink here, so we're not going to do that. Just toss that in the olive oil, and then just a bunch of spices. These are Mediterranean spices, which are our favorite flavors at the Oz household. A little oregano, some rosemary, and this is onion powder, and some garlic salt, and just a pinch of cayenne. I like
really
spicy.
could do this, actually.
I know you could. It's so simple. It's ridiculously simple, like almost embarrassingly simple.
How long do you cook it for?
For about 40 minutes, and it's all done. You want to taste it? Because I don't.
Well, I've got a secret for you. I pre-tasted it.
So that means you're not going to eat it now?
No, I stole one of them. I'll tell you.
Okay.
She gets mad if I don't love the food. She gets mad.
I can't taste it because I don't eat
meat.
Those kinds of
She
things.
makes me meat, although she can't eat meat, which I do love you for. But I kiss her back.
I can taste it when he kisses me.
The next affordable dish you make is tacos, which is a great serve for a holiday crowd. But you like it for another reason, because it helps the carnivores and non-carnivores get along.
Well, that's the thing. We can use this delicious chicken. We shredded it, and you can actually just put a little pinch of chili powder on there, and it's got a little Mexican flavor there, and now we can use it in the tacos. So we're gonna start with just a little bit of olive oil and saute some onions and some garlic and get that all sauteed. Once those are nice and translucent.
I do stir at home sometimes.
He does. To
the rhythm.
And that music just disappeared. And then we just want a little bit of chili powder and cumin, my favorite seasoning. All right. And we use a little bit of tomato paste and some water in there.
You know, I could do this too. This is so simple.
Why don't you?
Are you
volunteering to make dinner tonight?
You should teach me how to do this.
Yeah, okay. Well, now that you know, I'm expecting tacos for dinner tonight. And then just a can of refried beans. And this will take a couple of minutes, but not long at all. So for the vegetarians, you can use this. And then if you keep that in the freezer, you can always have chicken and pull it out. That's a little overstuffed, darling.
Well, I don't want too much bread.
Too much.
I'm on a paleo diet.
No,
okay.
Not with the corn, you're not. So then you just put a little bit of cheese, and you like cilantro, right? Our daughter Daphne hates cilantro.
Daphne thinks it tastes like
but you know
soap.
What?
How many soap people are there out there? Yeah, it's a genetic issue, by the way. If you don't have the right genes, you don't taste the cilantro the right way.
You jumped ahead too fast. We have to make the topping. It's just you chop these really quickly. Olives, onions, tomatoes, and lettuce. That's it. That's the whole salsa. You mix those together. All right, you can use your hands.
Like that?
Yep.
This is what I do at home. Yeah, surgeons get their hands dirty.
They do. Okay. All right, now you put that on top of the... No. Inside the taco, sweetie. You see, he's never made this before.
Well, I've seen it
he's
made.
good at eating.
I've seen it made. It usually comes like this on a plate. I never knew how it got there.
Yes. And then since you like cilantro, we can put a little bit of cilantro in there for you.
Now, while you're doing all this, usually I'm organizing the football game. We play charades at our house over the holidays. I don't know how many of you do that, but we play full contact charades, where you can tackle people if you don't like their clues.
That's only when the weather's bad. No, because normally it's football after the holidays. After the big meal, we go out and play football or basketball. But if the weather's bad, then it is full contact charades.
But you have another tradition that I think everyone should hear. This is something we got from my mother-in-law, who will not come on the show. But if Lisa, if you could share what we do in our house, because Mom thought of it first.
Well, especially with the holidays, we like to invite a ton of people, as you know, and everyone is expected to bring something to talk about. So we have an extra topic of conversation, whether it is a quote or a toast or a question, just so that we have something as a group that we can share and talk about.
I'll toast you with my taco. I love you dearly.
Thank you.
Thank you for making all these great meals for us. So Lisa's gonna stick around. She's gonna show you how to make one of the best muffins you will ever eat. Believe me, I've had it. She does. Be right back. Coming up next, Lisa shares one of her best brunch ideas for holiday gatherings. These will disappear immediately when she makes them. It's an Oz family favorite that's healthy, easy to make, and won't cost a lot. And will satisfy the hungriest breakfast crowds. Next.
Beat the holiday blues. The one thing you need more of so you can enjoy the holiday season. Plus, Jeff Robley shares his secret for easy holiday entertaining. I bet I eat this all week long. All new Oz.
That's coming up tomorrow. The love of my life and the best cook that I know, my wife, Elisa. She's here with great ideas for feeding your holiday crowd healthy and affordable food, both at the same time. Now, we've had parties since we first got married. It's 30 years this year, by the way, of marriage. See, even back then, when I was still a surgical resident, we were having parties, and they weren't all perfect, were they, honey?
No, but I think the craziest party was that one where I forgot to get the flowers. And, you know, the universe provides sometimes, and the cat brought in the snake. And we put the snake in a bowl, and that was our centerpiece. Unfortunately, one of the guests was a little afraid of the snake, pulled back, broke the chair. When we went to pick him up, we moved the candles, and the candles lit the curtains on fire.
Yes.
So,
except for that, it was fine.
But it was very memorable. We have a good story, and no one ever forgot that party. And it was so, I mean, what could go wrong after that, right? Everyone relaxed, had a good time.
So get rid of perfect, forget that, take it off your wish list. You want just a fun, memorable party.
Yes.
We usually have our parties actually not at dinner, but at brunches.
Yeah.
All right, so we're gonna make today a banana, date, and nut muffin. This is the final product. We're gonna show you in great detail with Lisa doing most of the teaching. These will disappear immediately when she makes them. She'll walk us through how to make them.
Well, these are great. I love them because they're high protein, and we know for breakfast you don't want just straight carbs because you'll be hungry during the day. So this is you're good at. We'll break this egg.
Watch, without looking. Without looking. Oh, that didn't work.
Oh, gosh, please look.
Oh.
Okay. All right, we're gonna, first, okay, just give me that. So you can whisk the egg, and we're just gonna combine all the wet ingredients. Again, super simple. I like simple ingredients. Make the recipe easy. This is a little yogurt, and what gives this protein, this recipe protein, is yogurt and a little protein powder, and the nuts. So it's healthy fats.
And the egg I broke.
And the egg, sorry, I forgot about the egg, you're right. And we have
that I broke.
That you broke so perfectly, like a master egg breaker. And here's some banana. These are 3 mushed bananas. Here's some vanilla and some coconut oil, which is great for you and delicious and gives it a little tiny tropical flavor. So
I want you to see how well I'm whisking. This is not anyone can whisk like this. This is a unique whisking It's like a cooking show. See right there? See? All right.
Now, if you guys would come to my house and clap, maybe he'll help me cook.
All right.
Okay. So now you can do dry ingredients since you're good. So good. This is, I know it's half whole wheat flour and half regular flour, just because the whole wheat flour gets a little heavy and you don't want them to be too heavy. And there's a little brown sugar. Here, I'm gonna put this in. Don't look, Mehmet. A little brown sugar.
That's a lot of sugar.
It's not that much.
What do you mean it's a lot of sugar? It couldn't be more. The most the bowl contained.
Oh, stop it. It gives a nice light sweetness.
Sweetness?
Per muffin, it's only a little bit of sugar. And then we have some rolled oats, and here's a protein powder that'll eat up all that brown sugar.
Yeah.
Some
Protein's
baking.
it's a big deal to have the protein powder in here, because without knowing it, You can have tons of food with no protein. This gets you there.
Baking soda to help it rise, and a tiny bit of salt just to. But no.
No dates?
No.
Almost
The dates
messed up.
come afterwards. Now we. Oh no! You have to mix the wet with the wet dry. Oh my gosh.
I was gonna mix it in the tins. Why not?
So much to learn, darling. And then once that's all mixed up, then you can add your walnuts and your dates. Okay.
This is the problem. This
So
doesn't work.
you're not a great mixer,
Right.
but we can imagine that this is well mixed. Close your eyes and think about good mixing.
All right.
Yeah, there you go. Here, want to put some nuts on top of there? So.
Perfect.
Oh my gosh.
All right, How
You know what?
long do you cook them for?
I'm not going to ask you to cook anymore. There. You cook these just for 20 minutes, between 18 and 22 minutes. Pop it in the oven, and they come out looking like this. Ta-da!
So I'm going to pass this out to the audience. You know, everything you make, I love because I love you, and you put love into these products. And I want to talk to somebody. Lisa's taught a lot of people how to do the right things in life. She's sort of the guru that all my friends go to, including me, because they see how lucky I am. She wrote this book, spent a lot of time on it. I'm very proud of you for it. It's called The Oz Family Kitchen, but it's actually Lisa's ideas rolled up into one, 30 years of experiences making food and getting better at it. And we want you all to be able to feel like you can feed your holiday company comfortably, so you're all going home, everyone in the audience, with one of these books. We'll be right back.
My guide to thrive during the holidays.
How long would you recommend keeping leftovers?
From cooking smart and eating healthy,
There's a strategy to making those leftovers last.
to finding balance and shutting down stress. All new Oz.
That's coming up on Thursday. Tomorrow, you'll be talking about the flu vaccine. Now, every year around this time, doctors recommend that each one of us get a flu shot. Last year, the flu season was one of the worst in years, and the vaccine was only about 23% effective. This year, the CDC says the vaccine will work better, but I want to double check. So I'm back with former U.S. Surgeon General, Dr. David Satcher, who was also the head of the CDC. You had every job, I think. You covered the whole thing. So do you think this year's vaccine is better than last year's vaccine?
Well, I do, definitely.
You do? Well, I trust you.
definitely think it's better. I think you're wise to get a flu shot.
All right, so we're going to do it today on air. I don't want you doing things that I wouldn't do. So come on over. You help me a little bit. Now, you all remember Nurse Maria, right? She's the winner of Nurse Nation. It's a Dr. Oz show nurse. So, Nurse Maria, to make your life easier, Dr. Satcher, will you help Nurse Maria?
Oh, sure.
1, 2. Is that enough?
Much better, Dr.
Yeah. Thank you very much, Dr. Satcher. You're a very kind man. So, let's pull this over here. I've got all your goodies here. Now, what do you think? Am I a good candidate for the vaccine?
Absolutely, doctor. You are within the range of getting a flu shot.
I have really big muscles. Is that a problem?
It's an awesome thing to have.
These are guns.
Look at those.
Oh,
Look
my
at that.
goodness. Oh, the shirt just doesn't fit.
Oh, my goodness.
The shirt.
My husband will be very, very jealous.
All right.
Well, we're going to be giving you a flu shot as soon as I put my gloves on.
Here, I'll help gown you.
Yes.
There we are.
Thank you very much, doctor.
Other way. The thumb's
Other
on
way.
the thumbs on this side. Good.
Yeah, I got to get that right. Well, doctor,
She
you're
busts
gonna...
me all the time. Are you kidding me? So
Well,
a few
doctor,
times.
We're going to give you a flu shot. First, we have to find your very big muscle.
Have to find them. She was
Find the
about
big
to say, first I have to find your muscle.
No.
Hold my hand, Dr. Hold my hand, Dr. Satcher, please. Comfort me. Oh, comfort me, Dr. Satcher.
You could hum. You could hum and just right in.
It doesn't hurt at all, guys. It doesn't even hurt at all.
And because you're so brave, you're going to be getting one of these cute Band-Aids.
I don't get to pick the one I use?
No. That's what the nurses do. We pick for you.
It's a
There you
happy
go.
face or not a happy
it's
face?
It's actually a sporting one. It's a nice
For
sport
sports?
one. Yes, doctor.
Wow. It hurts not at all. Dr. Satcher, it's a great honor having you here, my sir.
Thank
Love you all. Thank you very much. Remember, happy and healthy starts at home. I'll see you next time.